allow me to invite the director of the center to give us her opening remarks and also introduce to us the presenter. The director of the center is Dr. Diana Ntamu. Dr. Diana Ntamu is a senior lecturer. Dr. Diana Ntamu is a researcher. She is a consultant. And Dr. Diana Ntamu is also a board member on various boards. Dr. Diana Ntamu, please, you are welcome to make your opening remarks and also introduce to us the presenter of the day.
Thank you, Dr. Basalira. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We are excited to host you this morning as we discuss a very interesting topic. How do we maximize opportunities in 2025 through strategic connections? 2025 is not just another year on the calendar, but it is an opportunity with so much potential and which really demands our attention. It's important that for us to understand that potential unharnessed is just that potential. What is it that transforms our potential into reality? It is strategic connections. Today's world is increasingly or gets increasingly interconnected. Networks play a very important role in what we are doing in business, in work, wherever we are. Networks are very powerful. And we also need to look at the depth of our relationships and the strategic alliances that we can forge that can actually define our success in 2025 and beyond. This morning, we are excited to host the president of BNI International in Uganda. I'm very excited as I introduce our speaker this morning. And again, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to appreciate my friend Rebecca, who also connected me to the president of BNI International. You can already see what the strategic connections are doing to us. So our speaker is Miss Diana Ninsiima Kibuuka. She's an accomplished lawyer and award-winning community leader. She holds an honors degree in law from Makerere University, a diploma in legal practice from the Law Development Centre, and holds a master's in law from the University of Cambridge in the UK. Since October 2018, she has served as the National Director or President of Business Network International. It is a really big network. I know she's going to be telling us about it. And under her leadership, BNI Uganda has grown to a thriving community with over 550 business leaders, facilitating more than 153 billion Uganda shillings in business transactions. In addition to her work at BNI, she's a country lead of Girls for Girls Uganda. I don't know if you've heard about that network, but it's a very powerful network where she has mentored 6,000 women and girls from different social and economic backgrounds. She has passion for empowering the next generation of female leaders, which really shows that she's committed to leadership, development, and personal growth. She's like I said, she's a leader, she's a mentor, and she has also, by the way, demonstrated personal perseverance and determination by summiting Mount Kilimanjaro, which really shows that she's determined to achieve. Outside her professional commitments, Diana is married and is a proud mother of 2. I want to take this opportunity to thank you very much for accepting to come to speak to us and share with us on this very important topic, in maximizing strategic connections. It is what makes a difference, ladies and gentlemen. And I would like us to begin listening as our speaker shares on the topic. You're welcome to speak to us, Diana. Over to you.
Thank you very, very much, Dr. Diana, and thank you very, very much, Dr. Edith. Thank you to the team this morning. It's a pleasure to be here. I've always watched you in the background, and I've shown up sometimes when you had people I wanted to listen to. And so I'm honored to be here. As I've been introduced, I'm a lawyer by training, but fundamentally, one thing I want everybody to understand is that each of us by virtue of being in this world, have connections. And one of the biggest connections and networks we undermine is our family network. Our family networks, our community networks where we grew up, our school networks. And today, I hope that as I share a bit of my life story, a few of the insights that have, helped me navigate, and they'll show you, I'll be able to demonstrate how those very basic foundational networks have enabled me to do so much and live within my purpose and create opportunities for myself and for others. So one of the most important things that we need to know about strategic connections is that one connection that is good for me may not necessarily be good for you. So each of us has to define what we are looking for. The first and most important thing you must think about as an entrepreneur is your vision. What do you want to achieve? If you don't know your purpose, that's another, I'm sure they'll bring another speaker, but begin to define what it is you want. Because you might be seated next to the most strategic connection you have for you, who can unlock opportunities. But if you're not able to engage them, and if you're not able to communicate to them, then you're going to struggle. And so I'll share with you my story. I'm a lawyer trained in Uganda and also trained in the UK. And for many years, I worked in a very busy law office. But that law office created for me the most strategic connections that opened up my world. I used to serve banks. I used to serve mortgage teams. I used to meet clients. I used to serve private sector. Now, in one of those private sector clients, we had the Aga Khan Foundation. And there was an Asian gentleman from Nairobi who came to work in the Aga Khan Foundation. And I honestly was a really young lawyer, and I had no intention. My only intention was to serve my clients. I never imagined a career outside law. But because whenever I would serve this gentleman, I would always offer an additional value. I would say, how can I help you? I would be punctual. I would be on time. I would serve him with one heart, If we needed to finish a small task, it would be completed. If we had a big task, it would be completed. My word was my deed. I said what I did, and that was how we operated. Now, when that gentleman continued to operate in Uganda, one of the ideas he had was to introduce this business network, which was operating globally and which was operating in Nairobi. And he had the idea of bringing it to Uganda. Now, this gentleman is based in Nairobi, he's based in Canada. So he just wanted to see ideas come alive. He has no roots here. And so he approached me. I wasn't running a business. I wasn't an entrepreneur. I was just a young lawyer working in a law firm. And he told me about this community of business owners who meet together. And when they meet together, they help each other grow business. Now, my background is that my mother has always been in business. And my mother's businesses have not been big businesses. She's always had a shop. And from that shop, she's always selling some product or service. Her current business at 78 years is a grocery, is a supermarket grocery. But I had seen the power of business. One, I had worked in those businesses. And I had seen that small shop, literally a village shop, We used to sell bread and milk every day and bring in enough money to meet our family's needs. But also I had seen that small business provide employment for so many people who came from the village, were employed and were able to add value to their community and grow. Now, that was my only business experience. Can you imagine that small grocery? But I knew the power of that small business because I had worked in it and I had seen it impact others. So when this gentleman met me in the law firm and started telling me about a space where business owners can be helped, that was one of my first triggers. I said, oh, okay. Small businesses are helped. The second one was every day in the law firm. You know, I was serving banks, but banks lend to businesses. And you can imagine, every time I spoke to a business owner, there was a challenge. You know, there was a challenge. I have this challenge. I'm trying to get this loan to move this. It's a business challenge. It's a government challenge. It's a personal challenge. And I would build relationships with these people. And I had seen and I heard what their challenges were. So those two connections opened my mind to begin to listen to this gentleman. And so he told me, you have to come to Nairobi to see it. So as a person with no business and purely growing my career in law, I want to say that I almost had no business getting on a plane to go to Nairobi to see what was happening in a room of business owners. And ladies and gentlemen, that's where vision comes in. That's where purpose comes in. Because I, in my legal space, had always seen myself as a support system. I had always shown up more than just a lawyer providing legal advice. I was able to see how important it was for me to be able to explore this opportunity. And that's where vision comes in. Because so many people will come next to you and will talk about different ideas, create different opportunities for you, invite you into different spaces. But if you cannot see ahead, if it doesn't align with your vision, you're going to ignore them, you're going to pass them. When I went to Nairobi and I met the leaders in Nairobi and I got attracted to bringing that BNI program to Uganda, and I'll tell you what BNI is shortly. I want to tell you that the franchise owners in Nairobi, they told me so many people from Uganda have come here and they have gone without taking any action. They say they'll come back, but they don't. So I wasn't the first one to see that opportunity. Are we together? Because many times as Ugandans, we think people are lucky. We think people just got away, you know, we're just lucky to land on something. The opportunities are here. But the question is, who is going to align? Who is going to see this as an opportunity? And I want to emphasize many times your vision should be clear so that you're able to pick out what is an opportunity for you and how you can maximize your connections. So ladies and gentlemen, I brought back BNI to Uganda, the idea. Now, BNI stands for Business Network International. I was 33 years old. Remember, I didn't have a business. So I had nothing, no business leading business owners. But I had my strategic connections. Remember all the business owners I had worked with as a young lawyer? If you are an entrepreneur, if you're in business, you know that no one business operates singularly. Every business operates in an ecosystem. Now, because of those business owners that I used to support with legal advice, I had created ecosystems of auditors, accountants, tax advisors, people in logistics, people in insurance. I had a network that went beyond just colleague, just friendship. Because at any one time when I'm dealing with a business, it needs support. So my only task coming from Nairobi was to generate a list of 200 business owners, 100 business owners, with the intention of inviting them for a meeting. at which I would introduce them to BNI. Now, I got on the flight and started writing my names. Let me take you where I got my names from. I've told you I got them from my legal network, where I served business owners who were part of a bigger ecosystem. The second network I got them from was my Rotary network. Now, again, my father was a Rotarian. So in 2014, I chose to join Rotary for many reasons, but also because my father had served and lived and demonstrated the values of Rotary to me. I got them from my Rotary network. I got names on that list of 200 from my school network. I got names from my university network. I got names from my community where I had grown up, where I lived. And those are the names I put together and put in on a piece of paper and began to call. Now, I called 200 people for that meeting in July 2014, and 60 people showed up. Now, this is where I want to emphasize. We are all connected, but how much integrity do you have in your network? How much credibility do you have in your network? As entrepreneurs, many times our biggest opportunities are going to come because somebody has believed us, has trusted us, has invited us into a space. Someone is going to open a door for you. Someone is going to say your name in places where people are having conversations. Sawa sawa? So the power of your network must match the power of your credibility. Because when I invited those 60 people, ladies and gentlemen, it was exciting. But at that meeting, I told them, we are starting a journey to build a community of business owners in Uganda. That community is going to support each other to grow. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I invited people to sign up. And I want to tell you, only 4 people signed up. And those 4 people, one of them was my best friend called Brenda. The second one was a friend I had met through a mutual friend who was in cleaning. We met at a wedding meeting, and my friend pointed out and said, please meet my friend, Tracy. We are doing business together cleaning. I would like you to invite him into that business space you invited me to. The third one was an Indian gentleman called Ranjit, who had heard about Business Network International from India and had been writing to Business Network International Global for over 3 years, asking them, when is something starting in Uganda? So when I put my hand up, he reached out. And the fourth one was my childhood friend and dentist. He was a friend we grew up with. He did dentistry. And when I reached out to him, he had just opened his dental practice. Now, please understand these strategic connections. My girlfriend who I met at campus, she was called Brenda. I met her through mutual friends who were doing, she was from Makerere College. I was from Namagunga, but we had mutual friends. And at campus, we connected and became good friends. She was the one who was willing to come with me in a path which was unknown, even to myself. Tracy had been introduced to me through a friend called Jackie. Jackie I had known from S1. Jackie's credibility rubbed onto me that Tracy was able to say, I'll come. Ranjit bought into the international brand. He did not buy into me. Of the 4 people, he's the one who only knew what was ahead. And then the last one, my childhood friend, Dr. Stephen, who had just started his dental practice. So I want to deconstruct the whole idea that your strategic connections are waiting, that when you meet the president, that's when you have strategic connections. Today, where you are, you have strategic connections. The question is, how are you inviting them into your space? How are you engaging them? How are you informing, educating, advising, and bringing them together to support your vision, to support your purpose? Because immediately you begin to tell people, I'm on a journey to accomplish X, Y, Z, the people who connect with your vision will align. The people with who you have credibility will offer themselves. So now in 2014, we start a journey. And this journey is to build a network of credible business owners who are coming together to change the way the world does business. Moving from competition to collaboration. And you only have a team of 4. Ladies and gentlemen, today we have over 570 business owners in Kampala and Entebbe who have committed to being part of this network. And I'm just going to share with you some of the things I saw unfold as I built this community. This community has done business of, the members, not me, the members have done business of over 160 billion Uganda shillings in the past 10 years. Last year alone, we had over 60 billion transacted. The power we have as individuals is multiplied when we make the right strategic connections. And when I was Googling strategic, connections as a definition, AI came and told me that a strategic connection refers to a meaningful relationship with an individual or an organization that can be leveraged to achieve specific goals within a business context. But they also said it's about building networks with people who can provide valuable insights, resources, or opportunities to further your objectives beyond just casual networking. So, the first thing I want to emphasize for us entrepreneurs in 2025, let us put away casual networking. Let us define what it is we're looking for, what it is we want to achieve, what it is we need help with. Every time a business owner joins BNI, we bring out our mission. In BNI, we are helping businesses grow through a structured, positive, professional, word-of-mouth referral marketing program, which will help us build meaningful relationships with qualified business professionals. Now, I'm also a member of Rotary. And in Rotary, we serve above self. The expectation is you will give of yourself and your resources. I'm a member of Girls for Girls, which is a program which mentors girls on leadership. The criteria is that you volunteer. We don't have paid roles. You volunteer to share your story with women and girls in the workplace and in schools. Now, as an entrepreneur, when you're thinking about your strategic connections, you must be very specific. What do I want to achieve? I won't define casual networking, but I will challenge you that in your networks, where you are, where you spend time, either evening or morning, do people know what you are out to achieve? Do people align and understand with where you currently are on your entrepreneurial journey? Because if people can understand where you are today, they will be able to help you go the extra mile. So back to BNI. We have entrepreneurs coming into BNI all the time. Now, remember, they have their business. Many times they don't have clearly defined goals, but because BNI is a system, it sharpens them and makes them define their goals. But one tip that I have seen coming out, many entrepreneurs are not able to define their specific target market or their niche. And guess what happens? As entrepreneurs, we spend a lot of time casting out nets wide, hoping somebody will fall into the net. Yet, we need to apply laser focus, laser vision, and get that laser touch and go exactly for what we want to achieve. An example, I have an example of a lady who sells rice. Now, she used to sell one bag of rice left, right, and center. Anybody can buy rice. Of course, you can buy rice. Come and buy my rice. But she has been able to narrow down and understand that the people who make them, who make the most rice are caterers, restaurants, etc. And so she's been able to narrow that laser focus and go after what she wants. And because she's in a community, which is BNI, which allows and supports her on this quest, she's able to sharpen her focus and go for it. The question is, what are you looking for? Who do you need to meet? What do you want to achieve? I'm currently working with another entrepreneur who is so passionate about children, who is so passionate about supporting parents, who is so passionate about creating daycare spaces for women in the marketplace. And we are beginning to align and say, who do we need to engage to have the highest impact? Who do we need to engage to make sure there's real value for time? Who do we need to engage to make sure we are able to achieve what we want in the shortest time? Your passion will only get you so far. But being able to narrow down your specific focus, your niche, your market, will allow you to then create those strategic connections in the spaces you need, leveraging your already existing network, leveraging purposefully your already existing network. Again, I emphasize that when I started BNI, I did not go into the marketplace and put up an advert and stand on Kampala Road and start calling business owners. I leveraged my network. But before I started BNI, this network was mine. Please, let's be clear. These people were my friends. They were my family. They were my connections. But I had never utilized them. So I don't want us to start going out there to look for exciting people, new people, 2025. I want us to farm our networks. And we farm our networks by educating, informing, inviting them into our spaces, having meaningful conversations, either on a one-on-one or on a group level. In just the next 3 minutes, I'll share with you how we grew a community of over 6,000 women and girls who have gone through our mentorship program. Annually, we have over 250 mentors volunteering their time for a cause. When we started Girls for Girls in Uganda, the founder reached out to, on internet, asking for people who would create a space for her to mentor. I want to tell you the only person who responded to her positively was her OG. Again, our foundational networks are what is going to create the opportunities, people in 2025. I know I'm turning some things on their head. Yeah, foundational networks. When she went to mentor the very first time, she called her neighbor, her sisters, her OGs, and they went together. Nobody was willing to volunteer for a cause for a person they did not know. But that organization has grown organically. I'm currently the head. But when I took over the leadership, ladies and gentlemen, I went back to my organic network. Remember those banks I told you about where I had served them as a lawyer for many years? I had made friends. I had built relationships. Today, Girls for Girls Mentorship Program is in so many banks, insurance companies, private sector companies, all because of the organic growth. When mentors come into the program, we ask them to invite us into the spaces where they have influence. When they invite us into those spaces, we ask them to invite us into those spaces where they have influence. So what am I saying? Is that to maximize opportunities in 2025, farm your existing network. Whether you're using social media, get all your friends and family to follow you on social media, because I found a lot of programs on social media, people showing how they're using social media. Get your friends and family to follow you on social media. Share with them, download your posts, get your links, put them on the family group. Tell them this is what I'm doing this week in my business. If you're doing a project like this, like Dr. Diana, who's the head of the center, how many of your friends, family have come into this space and have you invited to see what you do? Because I've had so many exciting things. Those people will become ask them, how can you invite people into this space? How can we create more value? The networks you already have will give you leverage to the next level. When you talk about yourself as an individual, I want to leave you with 3 things as an individual. Your vision must be clear. And if it's not clear today, what is the vision for today? What do you want to achieve today? At least, if you can't see 3 years into the future, 5 years, can you see 1 month? Who do you need to engage with? How do you need to educate your family, friends, network, and tell them about what you want to achieve next month, if you can't see 3 or 5 or 10 years ahead? The second thing, your vision is going to determine how you show up, ladies and gentlemen. The way you show up is determined by your vision. If you're going far, if you're going to run a marathon, you show up differently from somebody who's just going to Kampala Road and coming back. If you can see yourself changing, transforming something, you're going to show up differently. The second, there are 3 V's, is value. Ask yourself, what value do I add? My story honestly started by adding value in the workplace as a lawyer. It wasn't magic. I did what I was supposed to do. I showed up when I was supposed to show up. I honored my word. Value is about what you give. Sometimes you're paid to give this value. Sometimes you will volunteer this value. Because you volunteer this value, people will find you credible. People will see and believe and come along with you on a journey. But ask yourself, in whatever space you're in, even in your family group, how are people benefiting from your presence? Or are you the one who they know if they are to bring you into an issue, there's just going to be problems? Yeah. The third V. So the first V is vision, values. The second V is value. Now the third is values with an S. Values with an S. Now I'm going to give you this networking tip, ladies and gentlemen. You will attract people and retain relationships with people whose values you share. You will attract people and retain relationships with people whose values you share. If honesty is a key value for you, you will run away from people who are dishonest. If integrity and openness and transparency is a key value for you, you will run away from people whose values don't align. So that test is you. As you step into those spaces, as you look for those strategic connections, which I've told you are organic, please remember, your value system must be known to you, and it will be tested. It will be tested severely. But if you can hold firm to your values and leave them out, the opportunities which seem attractive but don't align with your values, you can put on the wayside, because the opportunities which will be powerful and will align with your values is just waiting for you. The first one is a test. Please do not step into opportunities, do not step into strategic alliances with and make connections with people where your values are not aligned. Where there's a disconnect, there will not be grace, there will not be abundance. Thank you so much, Dr. Diana, for this invitation. It's truly an honor to be here. And thank you so much for listening to me, dear friends and colleagues on the call.
Thank you. Thank you so much, dear Diana Ninsiima Kibuuka. We are very grateful to listen to you and to learn a lot from you concerning maximizing opportunities in 2025 through strategic connections. Thank you very much, Diana, the National Director of Business Network International. Thank you for your time and thank you for sharing with us. We've picked a lot from you. I gather the issues of your passing from the background of not having a business, but you've ever worked with your mom, and somehow you picked the value and you picked the benefits of having a business, and also the connection of your father being in Rotary and what he did in Rotary. You also went into Rotary, and this helped you to pick networks and be able to get with people. I've also been attracted to the person from Kenya, the one you worked with, and invited you to go and join the Kenya community, and where you picked this aspect of knowing how to work together. I would like to appreciate you. Thank you, you picked a lot. You've shared with us how do we maximize the benefits of strategic networks. I've picked that you've emphasized you don't have to look out for new networks or people in in big positions, but you have to look for people who align with your values. And there is a tendency of ignoring your family, your community networks, and maybe people you went to school with. There could be tendency of forgetting about them, but these are likely to be your key contacts who know your credibility. So I'd like to appreciate you. We've picked the benefits of BNI and the benefits of working together. We've picked those 3 key things you talked about: the vision, the value, how do you add value, and then the values with an S, the people you share values with. We appreciate you, and I know people who are logged on here have picked a lot and they would like to interact with you. So I would like to go into the Q&A session, and I would like to invite Alia to lead us in the Q&A session. Alia, please take up some few minutes and take us through the Q&A.
Thank you, Dr. Edith. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
All right, thank you. A very good morning to you, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Alia Nambowa, and I work with MUBS Entrepreneurship, Innovation and Incubation Centre as an account manager. I would like to take this opportunity to thank you, Ms. Diana, for speaking to us this morning. Your presentation has been very educative and informative. I am sure all of us are taking away a lesson or two. At this point, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to invite you into the Q&A session where you get to interact with our presenter this morning. You ask your questions and she will answer. Without taking more time, let me go straight to the Q&A and see what's there. I see we have a lot of appreciation messages. Diana, I will give you a few questions and then you'll first tackle those. There is one from Ms. Winfred Joy. How can I become a member of BNI? There is another from Ms. Mabel. What was your challenge and where do you see yourself 10 years from now? And then Mr. Job says he would like to get your contact. And then Miss Barbara asks that, why don't you have a business? I don't know if you can first tackle those, then we can go on with others.
Okay, so I will emphasize that I did not have a business when I was starting BNI. I did not have a business. I was a lawyer practicing, and I thought I would stay within my legal career. Now I have a business, and I oversee 2 businesses, and I'm running with those businesses. The other question around the challenge, with personally, my personal challenge, I'll tell you, I'm a quiet person. I'm actually introverted, and people always, I always thought to be able to have strategic networks, you needed to be that person who everybody knows. When you enter the room, you can talk to the room and people, connect. So I had to overcome that. And I overcame it by realizing that in my quiet way, I'm able to build meaningful relationships. And those meaningful relationships are the ones which are strategic and create strategic connections for me. So I will never be the person shouting on the pulpit or podium, but I'll always be the person who's building relationships at the back of the room. The biggest challenge I faced for BNI is nobody believed. They said, you're going to collect all the Bafere in Uganda and put them in an organization. They're going to cheat each other. They're going to, no Ugandan will wake up at 6:30 to come for a BNI meeting. That challenge was tough because, when you're starting on a journey and nobody believes you will arrive at the destination. And then I had to cut back on my legal career. And yet I was a very promising young lawyer. Everybody expected me to achieve great things in the legal space. So that challenge was hard, but I had a few personal friends and I talked to them. And also my parents are the kind who always encourage you to try. So I was fortunate that although I could not myself conceptualize and understand fully how I was going to make it real, I had some people who were saying, try, and I was willing to try. But very early on, I could see the power of BNI because we had Ranjit and another member called Ezra, and they did a deal of over $1 million US. And for me, once I confirmed that the system works, I was sold. I said the right people will come. Let's put the sieve for the right people to come. But once I confirmed the system worked, I believed in it more. And the system requires credibility, and it requires people to do certain things to achieve certain goals. So it was clear to me what those things were and how I could help people. In the next 10 years, I see BNI Uganda supporting business owners across Africa through the BNI network. I see 5,000 business owners using the BNI system to grow their businesses through a structured, positive, professional word-of-mouth referral marketing system. I see entrepreneurs as leaders, transforming their communities through giving back, transforming their communities through questioning and speaking up to policy, transforming their community through advocacy, and transforming their community because they are heavily invested in it. in terms of manufacturing, factories, creating employment, creating, a significant change because of their investment. And that's what I see. And I see it very clearly. Yeah. So the other question of how do you become a member of BNI? You become a member of BNI. If you go to our TikTok page, BNI Uganda, there's a link there. I was trying to copy it and I couldn't find it. A link to which will give you, you'll allow to register and someone will contact you. TikTok BNI Uganda. There's a link there and you'll be able to register and someone will contact you. The other option is go to bniuganda.com. And once you go there, you go to find a chapter and you will be able to visit a chapter and someone will help you. All the details are there. And then the last one is I posted a number in the chat and I'm going to post it again. Just pick it up and then go. Because what people need to know is that in BNI, we first vet you. We first screen you. We ask, are you a registered business owner? And we have helped entrepreneurs register so that they can be part of our network. Are you a tax registered business owner? So you must be registered at URSB, then you must be tax registered with a tax TIN number. Then you must be able to show us, even if you're working from home, we must come and inspect that you actually have a business. So it's not a briefcase business. We want to meet you at your place of transaction or business. Yeah. So those things happen. So it's not automatic that everybody becomes a member of BNI who has a business. We must meet those 3 criteria tests. And then, of course, we are also looking for people with a positive attitude, people who are willing to be part of creating change. Yeah. Thank you. I think I've answered, Aliyah.
Yes, you have. Thank you very much, Ms. Diana. I think we have one more question, and then we can close off the session, the Q&A session. There is a question from Mr. Job saying, thank you, Diana. You did talk of word of mouth in creating meaningful relationships. Please clarify on how you have been able to use it, the challenges that come with strategy, and possible ways to overcome them.
Yes,
Diana,
I'll pick up the question asked by Alhaji Chiboa. Yes, we are members of PSFU. There's a question about the connection, the interlinkings between CASITA, NCCI, EABC,
yes.
And we are members of PSFU now. And we have reached out to CASITA in the past, but we've not been able to conclude. I think they were going through the turmoil of taxes at that time. But we're open to introductions to NCCI and EABC, if you can lead us there. And Ambrose, you don't have to be registered with NSSF. That's not one of the tests we do. But in the process of doing business, the more you grow, the requirement for NSSF will come in. But you have to be registered at URSB and for taxes before you become a member of BNI. And Aisha, Aliyah, just repeat the question again.
All right. Mr. Job asked that you did talk of word of mouth in creating meaningful relationships. Please clarify on how you have been able to use it, the challenges that come with it, with the strategy, and possible ways to overcome them. Also, maybe let me read this one so that you can answer at once. Then Ms. Lydian says, so as BNI, do you support startups? Thank you.
Okay. So, Lillian, we support startups in the sense that startups can be members of BNI, and the startup entrepreneur will find a network of proven and successful business owners who they can learn from. There's one startup who joined. She's a cleaning lady, a lady in cleaning, and she literally had a broom and a mop, and she used to clean herself. But today, she has contracts, she has an office, she rents equipment, all because she was able to find support and synergy in BNI. But even that startup must be registered and must have a tax registration as well. Because the essence is, if we're helping you grow your business, you must have somewhere to start from. In the past, we have provided talks to entrepreneurs, and we're open to opportunities to support incubation hubs and other spaces. But the most important thing, to join the BNI network, you must be a business which is already providing a product or service. So you can't be at startup stage with no product or with no service. Yeah. The concept, at least, and product must be tested and on market. Now, word of mouth. The biggest advantage of word of mouth is that the person talking about you lends you their credibility. So you heard Dr. Diana say, I want to thank my friend Rebecca, who introduced me to Diana. Now, I borrowed all of Rebecca's credibility when I started my conversation with Dr. Diana. But now, the biggest challenge with word of mouth is if the person you have referred lets you down, then the credibility of the person who made the word of mouth referral is affected. Because you can imagine, if I bring somebody and I say, you know, there's this carpenter, I vouch for him, and this carpenter takes all your money, takes all your measurements, and does not show up. So of course, I vouched for him. It means I am liable to a certain extent. My credibility is lost with you. So that's the biggest challenge we face. And while we have processes internally to work with how we can support business owners to be good, the biggest challenge is lack of integrity, lack of systems for many entrepreneurs. If you don't have systems in your business, which can survive, which can continue even when you're not there, you negatively impact the referrals that people give you and the relationships between the people who referred you and the people they referred you to. So the biggest opportunity and the best thing about word of mouth is also the biggest challenge and the most painful. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Ms. Diana. Thank you for responding to the questions from the entrepreneurs. I think that's it for the questions for now. If there are any questions from the entrepreneurs, we shall compile them and share them with you and share your responses with them. At this point, I will hand over the microphone to our host, Dr. Edith. Dr. Edith, over to you.
Thank you very much, Alia, for ably managing the Q&A. And allow me again to thank Ms. Diana Ninsiima Kibuuka for ably responding to the questions raised and also further interacting with the members who are logged on. We appreciate your time and thank you very much. We have learned a lot. And I say that, promise you that we are ready to maximize our opportunities this year through strategic connections, most especially people who we've been working with and where we should be able to have that organic growth from those connections, which are key and very important to us. We've gone beyond the top of the hour. Allow me to him to make his closing remarks. Technical team, please, if you can identify the principal, allow him to give his closing remarks. Professor Moses Moezi, I would like to invite you to give your closing remarks. Looks like he's left, but I saw him logged on and I would like to appreciate him for always supporting us and being attentive to all the sessions that we run. Allow me, in his absence, allow me to invite back to give closing remarks on this session. Dr. Diana Ntamu, our director, please give closing remarks.
Thank you, Dr. Edith. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to take this opportunity to thank our dear speaker, Diana, for such a wonderful session. It is important that as we begin the year, we are very intentional. And one of the things that happen to us all the time is that we meet people, we interact with people, but we actually don't leverage those networks. We don't take advantage of those relationships to take our businesses higher. But I listened very keenly as a person that has utilized networks since I finished university. I learned a lot today. Perhaps I can just quickly share my story. I recall that when I was a third-year student at Makerere, I had friends with whom we were discussing, and one of our friends, because we were doing education at that time, and one of our friends requested, actually asked in the group who would teach adults. I quickly volunteered. I said, yes, I do teach adults, and that's where it all started. I went to teach in an adult school, which now became a really big school. And when I was there, a friend again connected me somewhere, and that's how it has been for me. And even at the center, we have utilized our networks to do what we're doing. So for that reason, I find that networks are very important. But even then, what Diana said this morning is that we need to be very intentional. And what I picked today is that we need to make the relationship meaningful. How meaningful is your relationship so that it can create value for you? I have also learned that the people we are looking for are not far away. They are with us. If I go back to MUBS, MUBS is a large institution. We work with so many people. Some of them are colleagues, others are just our students, but we can actually take advantage of this. So we should not look very far away. Each one of us should start with those who we are with, we are with. The other thing, very important thing I've learned is that what are you looking for? Even when you're interacting with people, be very clear on what you are looking for. Who is it that you want to meet? What do you need, to do with that person to ensure that you have the highest impact? So it is very important that as we interact with the different individuals, let us be clear on what we want. But what also Diana mentioned is that it is, you first of all need to know what it is that you want to achieve. And that takes us to the 3 V's. She talked about having a clear vision, letting that vision guiding your actions, and focusing most importantly on the value that you can offer. Most of the time, we focus on what we can take away. And for me, this is one of the challenges in our Ugandan setting, that people look for you because of what they want to get from you, but they do not they don't look at what they too can make, can contribute. To me, this relationship that we are building with the other person should be reciprocal. You bring something to the table, and as you expect to get something on the table. And with that, I believe that we are going to be able to make the most out of 2025. It would be very good for us to come to the end of 2025, looking back and reflecting on the strategic connections we have made and how those really take us to another level in our businesses. I would like to congratulate you, Diana, on the great job you've done with BNI. And we heard from you on what it takes for us those who would wish to become members of BNI. I certainly would want to become a member of BNI, and I know that I'll look you up. So I would like to end this year by thanking you again and wishing everybody a blessed day, and hoping that as we leave this session, we are going to immediately start on making those strategic connections. Thank you. And Dr. Edith, thank you too, and the entire Entrepreneurship Center team. Have a good day. Bye.
Diana and Tamu for the great closing remarks and exciting us once again by highlighting the key issues we picked from the presentation. And also thank you for always getting the connections of the people who come and speak to us. The way you to Mr. Ninsiima Kibuuka, we appreciate you and all the people. Gentlemen, again to appreciate our mentor, Diana Ninsiima Kibuuka. Thank you for the precious time you've shared with us. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to appreciate all of you who logged on this morning. Thank you very much. I know we've gone beyond top of the hour, but I'd like to thank you so much for always logging on, and also remind you to log Thursday, same time. Thank you so much. Have a blessed Thursday. Bye-bye for now.
Cause the world will never see you till you do. No, they don't really care what you're going through. So you gotta show 'em, baby. You gotta show 'em the real you. You gotta give 'em what you got. No, don't let them see what you're not. Cause you are strong. Are wise. You are worth beyond 1,000 reasons why. And you can't be perfect, baby. Cause nobody's perfect, darling. But no, 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 there's nobody in the world like you. What do you do when you can't let go? What do you say when you just don't know how you feel? And you know nobody knows how you. Cause everybody's got their own damn problem. So everybody's trying to find their way. And day by day you struggle in this world. You know you have to just know that you're not alone. You don't always have to be strong all by yourself. I said it's okay to ask for help. People find you, but they don't define you. And you will find people who help redesign you. People will find you, but they don't define you. And you will find people who help redesign you. You are a work of art that you didn't think you got this far. Now here you are. Baby, you are strong, all wise. You are worth beyond 1,000 reasons why. And you can be perfect, baby. Cause nobody's perfect, darling. But no, 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 there's nobody in the world like you. You know that you can be perfect, but nobody. I love you just the way that you are. I love you just the way that you are. I love you like the stars in the sky. Oh, I love you, my eyes. Oh,